Welcome back to the Stan Simpson Show, wrapping things up on the rise, fall, and rebirth of Vin Baker, NBA star, the pride of Old Saybrook and UHAR native or alum, telling a very powerful story about alcoholism and depression and financial problems and coming back and trying to tell your story, joined by James Walker, our regular contributor, entertainment attorney, also helping out the Baker team and getting his life back in order. James, you and I on many shows have talked about athletes and entertainers who find themselves in a similar situation. The stat is out there, NFL players, 2/3 of whom, after 5 years after their career, end up broke and divorced. Why does this happen?
Well, I heard the comments earlier, Stan, and I heard your questions about $87 million or so dollars, and I want to point out that we all have something that we could get inherited to us or brought to us through a contract that could totally overwhelm us. So when I met Vin, I was excited because, first of all, he was sincere. He was sincere about his faith. He was sincere about his beliefs and his walk with God. And what I found is that you give a guy $87,000 who's never handled money before, or if you give a guy $1 million who's never handled money before, and there are certain pressures that come with that. You know, in my own life, I have real estate. I didn't own real estate growing up. So when you get into these things, you can get overwhelmed. And I think Vinny said it best when he said the temptations are there, the struggles are there, the troubles are there. And I think a lot of players, they have a lot of people around them who don't typically understand that the players just need really a friend to protect them, not a friend to go with them for the ride. And that's why a lot of players end up broke, because here you have a kid comes out of University of Hartford, signs a big multi-million-dollar contract, he's traveling, he's working out, he's doing all these wonderful things in Seattle, Milwaukee, and then on to Boston, but no one is really there in the entourage who cares about him. But
at the end of the day, it comes back, though, and Ben, you can chime in here, on the individual, right? At some point, the athlete has got to make sure that he or she is taking care of his business. And I'm going to assume that when you have that kind of money, that kind of lifestyle, you're not watching your money. You're not watching what's being invested. You're not watching the business accounts. And you're not seeing what the bottom line is each month. Vin, is that fair to say, that the money you figure, hey, they're handling that, I'll handle my business, that they handle that? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. You know, when you sign that kind of money, you assume that everything's unlimited, and you don't watch it. And with a heart like mine, I just want everybody to be taken care of. I have a business to do. My business was basketball. You know, I have to be an Olympian. I have to be an all-star. I don't take care of the business aspect of it.
Is that blind trust?
Blind trust, absolutely, absolutely. You trust people within your team to take care of the money. I love to eat. I love to play basketball, and sometimes that trust, if I had to do it all over again, be absolutely different. But you know, hopefully I get a second bite at the apple.
You will.
To let people know how to handle their business and understand you need to take care of business in all aspects of life.
Stan, it's funny he says take care of business, because one of the things that we always tell athletes and artists is, one, who's around you, who are you traveling with, are you reading everything you're signing? You understand?
Yeah, we'll get to your
Fire
tips in 1
family
minute.
minutes. We say all those things.
Yeah, we'll get to your tips in 1 minute on that.
And I think to hear him talk about that eloquently, he was in the business of basketball. And I think what his manager, Abel Mason, has done is brilliant, to line up books, national TV networks, going into Hartford. Today he was at my halfway house.
Right.
He's going to be helping us with the halfway house, because we want men to see that whether rich or not rich, these are issues that affect 14 million, 15 million people.
How about coaching? Here's a guy, a 4-time NBA player, Olympian, product from here, from Connecticut. Why not coaching, with a very powerful story? Vin, what's happening with the future with you as a coach and having that powerful story as a backdrop?
Well, I recently coached at TSU last year, which was
Texas Christian?
Yes, Texas Southern.
Southern, okay.
In Houston, which was an awesome opportunity. I'll be coaching my JV team in Old Saybrook High School, and just trying to build young kids, and obviously win our 9 games this year.
Get to the playoffs, right?
But, yeah, make the playoffs. But it's going to be an awesome opportunity for me to work with young kids.
So those kids hear about your house in Durham. You had a big mansion in Durham, and they asked you, Mr. Baker, what happened to that big house that we read about in the paper? How did you feel when you realized that, you know what, I can't afford this, I've got to foreclose? How did that make you feel, having that kind of money and that kind of house, and saying, I can't afford this?
I was telling some friends the other day that one of the things with me was, as far as the ladder was concerned, I didn't get too big for the ladder. I didn't climb it that far for me to fall off of it.
The ladder of success, you mean?
Of success.
Okay.
You know, I was given great talent by God, and I was blessed by God, but I never pushed anybody down. So when I fell from the financial ladder, you know, my heart wasn't broken because I knew I was dealing with people on a spiritual level on a day-to-day basis.
And you didn't come from $87 million. You came from a whole lot less than that, right?
Way less than that.
Real quick, Walker's tips on how to avoid the kind of financial situation we're seeing here with athletes. Walk's tips. First, you're saying fire family advisors. That family it's not good to have family as advisors. Real quick on these points.
Yeah, a lot of times people feel beholden to help family members when they get money. And I tell artists, singers, and athletes, you don't have to hire your family. If they don't have a professional training or background, don't hire them necessarily. He has Abel Mason, who's worked with the Jackson family, worked with a lot of folks. He's not his family. He's a good guy who's qualified.
You got 30 seconds, so quick takes.
Yep.
You say keep a two-person team.
Right.
Just two people?
When you're traveling all around, you have one of your managers or one of your agents and your spouse. You don't need an entourage of 10 or 12 people because when you're traveling, as Vinny knows, you're paying for all of that. Cars, hotel rooms, everything.
You got to have the gopher and a masseur. If anybody get the masseuse, you got to have someone going for the
I tell
someone
folks,
doing the toes and the
if they want to come for free, fine. But in terms of on your payroll, two people. Two people.
15 seconds. Read what you signed. Quick take.
Yeah, a lot of times when people get money, they turn it over to they turn the power of attorney over to right to sign contracts to someone.
No power of attorney. And finally, mind your business. Don't get into other businesses. Ben had a restaurant, other outside businesses. 5 seconds. Don't get involved in businesses. Period, right? Dry cleaning.
Don't get involved in these side businesses that are usually not profitable. Make sure you do the research.
They're wrapping me hard, James. And I want to thank our special guest, Vin Baker, on the comeback after a life of fame, fortune, and failure. He's coming back, folks. We also want to thank his manager, Abel Mason, and our entertainment attorney, James Walker. You can send your show comments or requests or watch us again at ctnow.com. And friend us, Vin, on Facebook. Become a fan of the Stan Simpson Show. We're on Twitter, too. Look out for the tweets. Lori Perez and The Real Story are next for the good folks here at Fox, Connecticut. I'm Stan Simpson. We'll see you next week.
Oh.